It's Tuesday, October 2nd. You're likely to have heard about the trouble at ILNFS and the ensuing debate over whether state owned LIC and SBI should bail out the company. Let's understand what the crisis is, what the broader implications are, and the contentious bailout possibility. What is ILNFS? ILNFS is a shadow bank. A shadow bank is a financial institution which is a non depository bank, meaning it doesn't receive deposits like a traditional bank. These include non banking financial companies, investment banks, etc. And because it doesn't take deposits, it has largely escaped regulatory oversights. ILNFS, Infrastructure Leasing and Financial Services, is over 30 years old. Its website says it has helped finance projects worth $25 billion. State-owned Life Insurance Corporation of India is its largest shareholder and owns 25.34%. Japan's Orix Corporation holds 23.54%. Abu Dhabi Investment Authority holds 12.56%. Housing Development Finance Corporation holds 9.02%. Central Bank of India 7.67%. And State Bank of India 6.42%. Now, what's the problem? ILNFS has since August 27th been defaulting on payments. In other words, it is unable to meet its repayment obligations. News agency PTI reports that ILNFS Group defaulted on a short-term loan of 1,000 crore from SIDBI, while a subsidiary has also defaulted on 500 crore rupees dues to the Development Finance Institution. ILNFS Group has a consolidated debt of 91,000 crores, with ILNFS alone having nearly 35,000 crores, ILNFS Financial Services about 17,000 crores. Why have they run out of cash? Among other reasons, some of ILNFS's own construction projects, including roads and ports, have faced cost overruns amid delays in land acquisition and approvals. As per the Indian Express, disputes over contracts have locked about 90 billion rupees of payments due from the government. The company is also impacted by the increase in interest rates and short-term borrowings. Now, why should we be worried? ILNFS's investors include banks, insurance companies, and mutual funds. Now, a biggie like ILNFS defaulting results in loss of confidence and will, experts say, mean that investors stay away from debt instruments of other NBFCs also, and housing finance companies. So, what is the cascading effect experts have been talking about? For that, we need to look at the exposure of banks and mutual funds to NBFCs or non-banking finance companies like ILNFS. A big source of funds for both NBFCs and housing finance companies is banks. Commercial banks led by the State Bank of India have an exposure of over 4,73,500 crores to NBFCs. What about mutual funds? NBFCs and housing finance companies have significantly increased borrowings from mutual funds in the last 5 years. The exposure of mutual funds is pegged at 2.65 lakh crores. ILNFS has defaulted on commercial papers. Commercial papers or CP are considered low-risk investments, and so mutual funds are invested in it. Is the management of ILNFS above board? What is its role in the crisis? Hemendra Hazari, an independent market analyst writing in The Wire, says, established in 1987 as a private company to develop and finance infrastructure, ILNFS quickly morphed into a labyrinth of subsidiaries, associate companies, housing special purpose vehicles for financing infrastructure projects in India and even abroad, with negligible public and regulatory scrutiny. While the company spread its tentacles and ownership changed, a group of individuals have ruled the roost from the firm's inception. Hazari writes, despite having so many luminaries of the corporate world on the board, the company severely lacked in management oversight and accountability. Look at this. The Risk Management Committee of the board is an extremely important committee in a non-bank finance company specializing in high-risk infrastructure finance and development, where there exists an inherent asset-liability mismatch. The Risk Management Committee is empowered to review the core functions of the company, such as asset liability management, credit, liquidity, market risk, compliance with regulatory norms, etc. He quotes the annual report disclosures to show how this important and critical committee of the board has met only once since financial year 2015. In 3 of the last 4 years, the committee did not hold a single meeting. It is even more shocking, he says, that credit rating agencies such as ICRA and CARE should have given a AAA rating to IL&FS when information regarding the IL&FS board's complete neglect of risk management was in the public domain. Hazari also charges that despite corporate misgovernance, the remuneration of senior management increased significantly. So, what about the debate over whether IL&FS should be bailed out? Raghav Bell argues in Bloomberg Quint, right or wrong, IL&FS, like UTI in 2001, is seen to be a quasi-sovereign entity owned and controlled by a clutch of public sector giants including SBI and LIC. He writes, the contagion will be devastating. Already the markets have wiped out 10 lakh crore of investor wealth. Remember, beleaguered public sector banks are staring at a direct exposure of 40,000 crores in term debt given to IL&FS. Provident and pension insurance funds have an additional 30,000 crore at risk. NBFCs, mutual funds and others could be forced to write off the balance 20,000 crores. Others like Andy Mukherjee concur, reflecting on how the exposure to the troubled infrastructure lender is prompting mutual funds to sell debt of other non-banks. Sucheta Dalal, veteran journalist and editor of Money Life, who first reported on the mess in IL&FS, says, first the board must be sacked to fix the mess. Writing that IL&FS cannot remain in control of the crony club. After all, they are fully complicit in having created the mess in the first place. On Monday, the National Law Company Tribunal allowed the government to take control of IL&FS. The last time the government had moved to take control of a company was in the wake of the Satyam scandal in 2009. Caught on camera, a BJP supporter, Nilima De Sarkar, was beaten up not just once but twice in the same day by Trinamool Congress workers in West Bengal. Sarkar, among other BJP supporters, had put up a rail block at Barasat, North 24 Pargana, in support of the BJP's 12-hour Bandh last week. In the first attack, as is visible from this video tweeted by BJP leader Dilip Ghosh, she was beaten with lathis, pushed to the ground and kicked. While the second time, later the same day, she was attacked while speaking to reporters about the earlier incident. The BJP has identified the attackers as a local panchayat leader and his aide. However, neither of the men have been arrested. Last week's Bandh called by the BJP saw scattered incidents of violence across several districts. One shopkeeper was shot dead and close to 1,600 people were arrested. Violence by Trinamool Congress supporters has been on a rise. The lead-up to panchayat polls in May was especially fraught with violence. Meanwhile, a TMC worker was shot dead and another sustained bullet injuries in South 24 Pargana district on Sunday. While the local TMC leadership blamed the BJP, the party denied the allegation. LA now, or not him. That's what these Brazilians are chanting. 4 million men and women hit the streets over the last weekend to protest the candidacy of Jair Bolsonaro, the far-right frontrunner in Brazil's presidential election. A 63-year-old former army captain, Bolsonaro is infamous for his racist, homophobic, and misogynist comments. He has told a congresswoman he would never consider raping her, equated homosexuality to pedophilia, justified the gender pay gap, and has gone on record to say having a daughter is a weakness. Often called a fascist, he rose to popularity through a divisive social media campaign, winning right-wing votes for his hardline stand on violence and abortion, often extolling Brazil's 1964 to 1985 military government, a dark age for the Latin American country where opponents, academics, and activists were regularly tortured and executed. Bolsonaro is presently leading against Fernando Haddad, a former mayor of Sao Paulo, for a first-round vote on the 7th of October. Haddad of the Workers' Party replaced popular former President Lula da Silva after Lula's candidacy was barred because he's serving a prison sentence for graft. Last month, Bolsonaro was stabbed at a rally. This video of him being both cheered and hollered at on the flight back to Rio de Janeiro shows how divided the country is over him. Despite making up 52% of Brazil's electorate, women hold just 13 of the 81 seats in the country's upper house and less than 11% of the 513 seats in the lower house. For the Not Him group, these are worrying statistics. On the other hand, to a large population of Brazil, Bolsonaro represents an antidote to a lack of public facilities, a broken economy, widespread political corruption, and this election's prime concern, a rising crime rate. Brazil, remember, is home to 7 of the world's 20 most violent cities, with 63,880 cases of homicide in 2017, a 2.9% increase from the previous year. See you tomorrow.